Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And bear with us. We are recording these in advance, but still late at night because we hate ourselves. And Ron spent the entire green room just yawning. Have you done your push ups yet, my dude?
I am currently on my treadmill.
Oh, okay. I'm glad one of us is burning calories throughout the getting some use out of our podcast.
But first, Jeff. First.
Okay.
To me, my podcasters.
Assemble.
Dude. X-Men 97's a thing.
Dude, when I saw that tweet, I was thinking, surely this is a joke, right? And then when you see that it's a thing, and it's not only a thing, it looks amazing. I was so excited.
I open that trailer every time I open YouTube. I will watch that trailer and then go watch something else after.
It's so good. I like the opening too because it's played back almost like you're watching a VHS tape, and it looks very 90s, and then it switches, and it's that same art style just in modern animation quality.
It's in modern animation and modern techniques, but it still has that jankiness to their movement and stuff.
Yeah. I love it. I can't wait.
Oh my god. Jeff.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that they eventually circled back around to continuing that property because of how much people love that cartoon, and because what kind of like sparked it, I think, was they had over the last 2 or 3 years a 90s X-Men comic series that was really popular. So like I figured because of that, and because of just like the nostalgia for it, how much people love it, it would come back around. I didn't expect it to be this quick because like they just started that comic like a couple of years ago.
Well,
it's already a fucking Disney Plus show.
Also, though, like the wheels in the machine are turning, right? So we're about to get a whole bunch of X-Men content from the MCU itself. They need to drum up excitement for the X-Men because, like I said, it's going to be nonstop. You're going to start probably seeing some Fantastic Four shit since they announced the cast.
What did you think of the cast?
I knew one name, I think. I haven't gotten around to looking up the rest.
You knew obviously Pedro Pascal.
Yes, that's the one I knew.
Yeah.
I recognized, you know me, I recognized the names, but I like Pedro Pascal. He would have been a great Doctor Doom. But
yeah, I can see that. Pedro Pascal can do anything.
I like him though as Mr. Fantastic pretty good.
I'd like that pick a lot too.
The one that I was curious about that some of the podcasters I listen to is excited about is Eddie Munson. Who is Eddie Munson? That's the one. That's the one I didn't even recognize the name for.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's one of the. Is it? I don't think that was one of the actors' names, right?
Was it? Who was it? Whoever is. This article said. Hang on. I just.
The Stranger Things guy.
Yeah.
Joseph Quinn. Joseph Quinn is the
Joseph Quinn is the actor's name. Okay, because this article. It literally says the other name. Thank you.
I like that actor a lot. Did you watch the Stranger Things season that had him on it?
I don't know. Who is he? I don't even recognize the picture of him in Stranger Things.
So it was the most recent season of Stranger Things.
No, I did not watch that.
He was like the high school burnout kid. He's really funny, and I think he's a good pick for Johnny Storm. I think overall this cast is pretty good for it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's the one that I was really. Oh, he's in Inhumans. Ooh.
I'm sure you've seen the I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the Eben Moss background. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce his name. He's been in Star Wars, and his actual name is more of a Star Wars name than his Star Wars character name in Andor. I can't pronounce it, but he's been very, very popular as of late because of the show The Bear.
What Star Wars is he in?
He's in Andor.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he's good though. He's been popping up in things here and there over the last few years, but that show The Bear has gotten huge critical reaction to it. I just haven't seen it yet, but people think he's really, really great in it because he's been like I think he got nominated for the Emmy for it or won it.
Hey Jeff, I don't know if you've heard, Gambit can charge Wolverine's claws.
Yeah, fuck the Fantastic Four. We can talk about that.
Dude. Are they going to get creative with this shit? Are they going to use their powers in interesting ways like they usually always do, but they don't on TV and movies?
Also, if that is the first time that's ever happened, and there's been 50 to 60 years of random bullshit happening in X-Men comics go the weirdest of any of the main properties, and all of them go weird, but X-Men has had some bonkers shit in the comics. If that's the first time that's ever been done, then like missed opportunity to 55 years of comic writers. Someone out there who writes X-Men, if that's never been done, did the fucking Picard face palm. It's just, I never thought of that.
If there is one character in all of media that could survive becoming one of Gambit's weapons, it's gonna be Wolverine, dude.
Oh yeah,
like come on. Oh,
I can't wait for that cartoon, dude.
And I love how
we have to pick it for the show just so we can have an excuse to watch it,
right?
And then immediately have to talk about it.
Hey, did you notice that the original X-Men series, the final season was in '96, and this is literally the next season, X-Men '97.
That teaser trailer went so fucking viral that Disney Plus now has the 90s X-Men on the homepage.
Oh man,
it's like one of the big banners at the top. Watch X-Men before the new season drops.
And I have been.
And yeah, I don't want to because I was always more of a Spidey and Batman cartoon kid in the 90s, but I did watch a lot of
what am I going to do?
Cartoon.
Not watch the X-Men cartoon?
Yeah, the X-Men cartoon, also just one of the best themes of all time. I fucking love that theme. Nothing, almost nothing takes me back to my living room in 1995 faster than hearing that goddamn animated X-Men cartoon theme.
And they know it too because the MCU keeps fucking using it. There's 2 places, one movie and one TV show where it shows up.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
We were fucking spoiled when it came to cartoons back then. Good God. 90s cartoons. Just fucking ridiculous.
The Spider-Man drop in that trailer also with the Daily Bugle floating by the camera.
Yeah, the little is Spider-Man a mutant?
Oh man,
yeah,
that was one of my favorite crossovers when he was going through his mutation and becoming the Man Spider, and he went to Charles Xavier for help, and he's just like, "I'm sorry, but you're not that kind of mutant. You're the wrong kind of mutant. Like you were not born a mutant. You were made into a mutant. I can't do anything for you.
Yeah, so get the fuck out of my building."
I believe
I have teenage kids to put in mortal peril
right
on our next mission.
I believe that's the one also that he and Wolverine end up teaming up, and like he's being all stealthy, and then it hard cuts to Wolverine just walking through walls. It's amazing.
The true question when it comes to X-Men just in general is how has Charles Xavier not gone bankrupt from being sued and or criminally charged for child endangerment? Because there's
the man has an army, so
there's entire teams of X-Men who are just kids. And they always, like, you ever hear some of the fucking shit like the New Mutants we're up to? It's just Charles Xavier, you are irresponsible when it comes to watching these fucking kids.
Oh my God. I love the discourse it's led to on Twitter also. Everyone talking about X-Men, and not just this, but just X-Men as a whole. And how incels want them to avoid the wokeness. They want to go back to classic X-Men where there's no wokeness. I don't know if you've ever read an X-Men comic or seen an X-Men cartoon or an X-Men movie. That's
also,
what they are.
I guess y'all kind of missed the whole point of how the X-Men were originally an allegory for homosexuality and people in, minority groups. You fucking idiots.
Yeah.
God, I hate people.
Dude, it is some of the best Twitter has ever been. It's been like ultimate Twitter.
Also, ultimate Twitter is people who didn't understand the satirical nature of Starship Troopers. That has been blowing up lately.
I've been seeing it. It's been falling over into my feed.
It's everywhere.
Which, by the way, is on my list to be on this podcast, and I almost picked it because of what's going on recently.
Oh my
You know, I might switch my pick. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We need to capitalize on this, Jeff. We need to pull Disney Plus and get it on our homepage.
People are so fucking stupid, man.
Oh my god.
It's Paul Verhoeven. Have you seen the commercials in RoboCop? Do you not understand what satire?
Hey, I would play Nukem. All right, I would totally play Nukem.
Jesus, and these people get on their fucking high horse. It just makes you want to fucking throw my phone against the wall with how stupid these people are. I can't. It's so dumb.
My finger's been on the fucking pulse. I just watched all 4 RoboCop movies.
Hell yeah.
So like you bringing up RoboCop also. Like
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1. Oh my god. And hey, people hate that remake, but it has one of the best callbacks I've ever seen in any movie when they're making fun of them using a cyborg instead of a straight up robot. And when they show how bad he does compared to the robots, and Jackie Earle Haley just leans over and goes, "I wouldn't buy that for $1." Yes.
Yeah, I remember not liking it as much as the original, obviously, because the original's a classic. But the cast for the reboot was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's I liked it. I watched the first one, and then I watched the reboot, and then I watched RoboCop 2 and 3. And they're all on HBO Max, and I had nothing better to do. So,
yeah. I feel like we'll cover them. I feel like we'll cover all of RoboCop eventually for franchise coverage for it, because
if I hadn't live texted you while watching them, I probably would have picked them by now.
Yeah,
probably give you a minute to get away from it, because I was like literally like scene by scene texting you about it. Like, why do people hate this? Why do people complain about this in the game? And I'm looking at it right here in the movie. Like, yeah,
I kind of get people not liking it because it is a different flavor. It is kind of translated as more traditional sci-fi instead of, kind of cheeky Paul Verhoeven sci-fi, and I get that, but I mean it doesn't make it a bad movie. It's just different flavor.
It's just not the same thing they've seen a million times and grew up with.
Yeah, and
Michael Keaton, man, come on, Gary Oldman.
It's always a losing battle when you go after a reboot of something in that vein, where the original is so many people's, their straight up favorite movie. You're not going to be able to top that in their mind. It could be the greatest fucking film of all time, but it's not what they grew up with, and it's not what they have nostalgia for. So it's automatically a losing battle.
It made me feel real bad for Joel Kinnaman because he keeps getting so close, dude. Like,
he's all over the place.
You want to be Rick Flag? Sure. Oh, everybody hates this movie. Hey, you want to be Rick Flag again? Let's kill you instantly. Hey, you want to be RoboCop? Who's going to say no to being RoboCop? Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, Altered Carbon was such a high-profile thing, and then it did like nothing for him when it was over.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I like him a lot. He's one of the antagonists in House of Cards.
Oh, is he?
In that too.
Run All Night. Liam Neeson. He cashed in on Liam Neeson kicking ass.
Oh yeah,
Liam Neeson's son in Run All Night. Like, he keeps getting so close to greatness and then just disappearing again and coming back. Like, I don't know. Watching him in RoboCop, I'm like, he's a good RoboCop, man.
I think he'll eventually get his kind of star point. You kind of like with Carl Urban, how he finally got the boys and is now getting really, really close to at least some form of A-list status, just because of how much people love that show and how he fucking makes that show. So I think Joel Kinnaman will eventually get something like that cements him as
what was that Detroit Become Human TV show that Carl Urban had?
Almost Human.
That
was a damn good show. I
didn't even start it. I think it was, if I recall, the same week I decided I was going to sit down and watch it was the week they announced it was canceled. I was like, well, and I just never got into it. I never watched it.
Did I ever tell you I met Carl Urban?
Dude, what?
Yeah, my dad and I actually met Carl Urban at a con. I have an autograph from Carl Urban. He's a super nice guy. We talked to him about Almost Human. That's maybe you made me think of it because of that. We talked to him about it. He's like the sweetest fucking dude on the planet. I feel Ron is just speechless.
I could not be more angry with you right now. How long have I known you, Jeff?
Too long, some would say.
And you have never mentioned this to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel like Ron just has to end the podcast now because he's too mad to continue speaking to me.
I might need a minute. Yeah, dude. That I was so happy for him. Because that was all like in vogue, right? That Detroit Become Human was crushing it in the video game world, and that's just kind of where pulp culture and science fiction was at the moment. And he had this TV show on a major network with some power behind it. Like it looked like it was gonna do big things for him, and then they canceled it.
Yeah, the problem was the big network was Fox, and anything at all that is of quality whatsoever gets canceled from Fox. This show's good. Get that shit out of here.
What do you mean we could make money? Get it out of here.
Firefly. We're like, you're fucking fired. Get the hell out of this building.
Well, like fired fly, am I right? Yeah, he eventually got the boys, but it's just thinking about Joel Kinnaman, it's the way I felt for Carl Urban when Almost Human was canceled.
It's a shame. Because it's always
he
like
was
so close but so far
role,
away.
You know?
And what sucks too is like and I understand why they circled around to making him much more of a likable character in the James Gunn Suicide Squad because he wanted to have more pathos when he killed him. But it is a bummer that it's Joel Kinnaman and he's fucking awesome, but we got to kill him off. Get him out of here.
He's in the one everybody hates all the way through. And then he's in the one everybody likes, and if it ever gets a sequel, he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's becoming like he's like the second coming of Sean Bean. He's like everyone loves him, but goddamn it, you're not making it to the sequel, buddy.
Oh man,
we're gonna throw your ass to the bottom of this here satellite dish just to make sure you don't make it back for the next one.
Hey man, GoldenEye's on my short list.
GoldenEye's
been in the news lately. There's been a lot of 007 talk. GoldenEye is ratcheting up my list.
Is it that is the developer company that made the Hitman game still making that 007 game?
They are.
That's actually one I'm very curious about, and I don't play video games.
Dude, take that template, right, of Hitman and apply it to a 007 game. Walking around, like taking different disguises, like just
okay.
Think
the
about
first question: if I can't blast through a brick wall with a tank, then I'm returning that game. That's all I want to do.
Right, dude, that is one of the greatest fits for a video game I've ever heard of, and even better. They have, this is really hard to do. They had the blessing of the Ian Fleming, like, estate. Like, they went to them, said, here's what we want to do in this video game, and they signed off on it.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I never really sought out the Hitman games just because they're not really for me. I don't like replaying stuff, and the whole point of those games is to replay the same levels a whole bunch of times and just do all the crazy random shit you can do. But yeah, they look like amazing games. So I'm excited to see what they do with 007.
What I appreciate is watching other people play them.
Same.
It has led to like endless hours on YouTube for me watching people play through the Hitman games, because the fact that here's your objective and there's like 100 different ways to approach it.
Yeah, it's so dynamic.
It's so good. It's so good. And then the challenges and stuff that they have. I mean, Jeff from Rage Select doesn't really get into that, and he like did every single challenge map, everything you could do on those maps. He did it, and that gave us Plan Jeff, which is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. When everything goes to shit, Plan Jeff is all right, pulls out the gun, and just starts taking out civilians and targets alike.
No one is safe.
Like, well, we fucked it up. You know what that means? And then the pistol comes out.
Nobody makes it out alive, myself included.
We go full plan Jeff. That's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. But yeah, them doing any kind of 007 game. I don't care if it's based on movie, book, or original. That world that they create and the way that I don't expect it to be Hitman but 007 skin, but I expect to see a lot of Hitman DNA in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I what I would guess is going to be is it's going to be an original take from them that just has splashes of all the various incarnations of 007.
And here's the other thing too. It's funny we're talking about this because just the other day on Rage Light Podcast they were talking about one of the things that made the Hitman games so compelling. They're real places. They're real places you can go to in real life. They're not made up destinations. They're not made up places, not made up cities. And I mean, that's the 007 universe is in real places in real life. So they'll be doing that again. They'll be doing what they do best to make that game. So
hell yeah, I'm excited.
It's gonna be good. I might never play it. It's my favorite game I've never played. Like I might never play it, but I'll be watching the fuck out of some people play it. I'll tell you that.
The 007 one?
Yeah.
I'll check it out first, but I could easily see myself playing that just because I'm a James Bond nerd, and the idea of what they could do with that is really enticing.
But man,
I hope it's good.
GoldenEye is on my list for this podcast because
GoldenEye
I don't
is so
care.
fucking good.
Everybody really shits on Pierce Brosnan. He's my favorite 007. I grew up watching Sean Connery and Roger Moore and villain in Doctor Who. I just lost his name. I can see his face.
Timothy Dalton.
I grew up watching them, and then I went and saw GoldenEye in theaters, and Pierce Brosnan was instantly my 007. And I like all of his movies, but that one and Tomorrow Never Dies are my two favorites of Pierce Brosnan. GoldenEye is my favorite 007, period. So
GoldenEye is really strong. I think GoldenEye is easily my favorite of the Brosnan ones. I'm a little bit more iffy on some of the later Brosnan ones, but I feel like they're all like pretty. The one with Halle Berry is like it's got some stupid shit in it, but GoldenEye is perfect.
What I don't understand is people act like it's the only 007 movie with some stupid shit in it, and it's definitely not. I mean,
it's definitely not.
He
but
went
in
to the
comparison
moon,
to
Jeff.
in comparison to like GoldenEye, it's got too much stupid shit. Like I if all of his movies were just kind of kept in that vein, I think people would look more highly on them. But also, it was the 90s, and people wanted to see stupid shit in their movies, so that's kind of understandable.
The Aston Martin Vanish.
Hell yeah.
Is Tomorrow Never Dies? That's the one he's in the back seat of the car, remote controlling it with his cell phone, right? As they're shooting the shit out of it.
I get that one and World Is Not Enough mixed up a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I
those are two very different movies.
I haven't seen them as much as you have outside of. I think I've seen GoldenEye the most out of those.
Dude,
it's hard to say.
Jonathan Pryce is an amazing Bond villain, and he owns the Tomorrow, which is his newspaper. But they're literally making their own news. They have a stealth boat, Jeff.
Which one is Jonathan Pryce? Is that
Tomorrow Never Dies?
Tomorrow Never Dies. Okay.
Yep.
So which one? Who's the bad guy in World Is Not Enough?
What's that chick? I can't think of her name. I always get her confused with someone else. Nope. World Is Not Enough. Electra King is who she played, I believe. Sophie Marceau. Oh God, that's right. Christmas Jones.
Oh. What a fucking dumb name. And that's taking into account, like, there's been some stupid fucking character names in James Bond, but Christmas Jones is up there.
Why was
really stupid?
Why, Jeff, was Denise Richards in a Bond movie? Why is she a Bond girl?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
I always get this chick mixed up with someone else. But yeah, I haven't seen much of things that she's been in. I basically just know her from The World's Not Enough.
I haven't seen all of them, but my favorite Bond movies are probably also GoldenEye. And I am a giant nerd for Casino Royale. I love Casino Royale. I know you don't like it as much, but I love it.
Yeah, I didn't like that one at all. And then after Quantum of Solace, I was done. I haven't seen one since Quantum of Solace.
They were all pretty damn good after Quantum of Solace. That movie just got fucked from the writer's strike, to be honest. Like, they were just having to make shit up as they went along, and Daniel Craig was not happy with the product that was on the screen because it has no fucking script to it at all. It's just random shit blowing up.
Casino Royale had so much potential. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen's the villain of that one. And I was so pumped for it. It's like, oh my God, can we please move on? Why is this movie 5.5 hours long and it's just them playing poker? I don't give a shit.
It has more action to it than you think, but
it
it doesn't
feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it at times because they do spend too much time with the poker games.
The pacing is so bad.
When you go back, if you go back and watch it, the action sequences that it does have, like with the stuff at the airport and when he gets poisoned, and the ending sequence with like Italy collapsing, like there's a lot of good. Oh, the opening where they're running through the construction sites is fucking phenomenal. It's just your brain does kind of like glaze over when it gets to the extended poker scenes. It's a valid complaint.
Contrast that with GoldenEye, where the downtime in that movie is about a woman squeezing people to death with her legs. Like, that's the downtime in GoldenEye.
But the cast is so good in Casino Royale, and the action sequences it has are so strong that I think if you watched it again, I think you would like it more because you'd be divorced from like the hype from it and everything. But yeah, they're valid complaints because they do. I wish it was 30 minutes shorter for sure.
That movie felt like it just went on forever, man.
Yeah, we might have to pick it. I think doing GoldenEye and then Casino Royale as like a back-to-back review for the show would be kind of fun.
That would be an interesting month.
Just to really like compare and contrast like the differences that the different tones you can have for Bond. Because like Bond is like fucking Doctor Who almost. Like, you can do anything with Bond. It can be goofy. It can be incredibly fucking serious. You know, it can be like everything you want it to be.
All I can think of now is Daniel Craig saying to the media that he'd rather slash his wrist than be in another Bond movie. And then Ralph Garman like, Danny, eat a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
I always love how fucking bitter he sounded talking about James Bond, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be Kentucky Fried CSI for Knives Out. Sign me the fuck up."
And then he did like 5 more James Bond films. Also,
I love it. I love Daniel Craig. He's
Kentucky
so fucking
Fried
nuts.
CSI. Oh, dude, I was thinking about Knives Out. I want to watch Knives Out again so bad.
Yeah, I could always go for some Knives Out. It's so fucking good.
And then we see that a hole is not a donut hole at all, but a donut's hole. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
A donut's hole in its center. It's so fucking good.
Sweet beans. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man, we're good.
Hey, Jeff, what happened to you last night in Soho?
I'm just gonna forget that we ever fucking covered Knives Out and pick it, and we're just gonna fucking watch it and cover it again because I fucking don't care. I just want to watch Knives Out again. Before we get to last night in Soho, though, we have a
that's
comment.
true.
We have a comment, good sir.
I forgot. Yes, we do. I believe you had asked a question about Everest versus The Descent, minus abominable snowmen and cave monsters. And I was very torn. I remember that. I don't remember exactly what I said. That was a while ago.
I think you picked the spelunking scenario as
that
your
sounds
option.
right, because I haven't spelunked, but I spent a lot more time in caves than I have on top of mountains, that's for sure.
You also said that you would rather throw yourself off the cliff than climb across the ladder that was placed across the chasms, which I also don't blame you for, because fuck that dude.
Absolutely. We got a comment from our beloved Bobby. And
Love you, Bobby.
he said, I choose both as long as I'm bringing both of you. To which I replied, just no, period. So, yeah, that's the only comment that we received. Do we have any email? I didn't even look.
I did not see any.
I'm bad at this job.
Me too, man. Me too. You'd think 2 negatives would equal a positive, but
no, it don't.
That doesn't. That's a fallacy. But yeah, if you have a prompt or question that you would like discussed on the show, you can always email us, screenplayrewind@gmail.com, or post it on, Twitter, YouTube's on their comments, just wherever you want to hit us up. Just let us know. We'll talk about it. Man, I feel like these fucking green room sections, they're just like dominating the show now. We have like a longer green room section than the body of the show.
It's 2 podcasts in 1, and we don't even run ads. Come on.
Yeah. And we have to fucking talk about X-Men 97, goddammit. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, we give free airtime to everything else.
Gambit charged up his fucking claws, man.
And
we're gonna discuss that.
Glorious.
It's like the best thing I've seen since fucking Cap catching the Mjolnir, dude, was Gambit charging up the Wolverine claws.
Whole new definition to Raging Cajun.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that Gambit movie they were talking about for like 15 years? Did that just officially get shit canned, or are they still discussing a Gambit movie?
What Gambit movie?
Man. Yeah, I guess that's just never happening.
No new ratings or reviews. We're still sitting at 2 5-star ratings and 1 2-star rating, which I might agree with on occasion.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I think this is a solid 3.5 on a good day. I wouldn't call this a good day, so this is probably like a 3. But that's above average, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd call 3 average when it's out of 5, but
it's passing grade.
we're sitting at a 4. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Last night in Screenplay Rewind,
nothing changed. End of podcast.
How does the show work? We're talking about a movie, right? Did we talk about a movie, or did we talk about Gambit charging his claws for another hour and a half?
That is the only
just
thing.
Call it a day. That is all that's dominating my mind right now.
That is the only thing I want to talk about.
That is all that matters. I did absolutely love the Mike Drucker quote about the X-Men 97 trailer, though, where he quote tweeted it and then said, I'm gonna call in fake sick and watch this all in one sitting like I used to do in 1997. It's like yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I how funny would it be if I made the image on YouTube just Wolverine's claws being charged instead of anything from this movie?
Just totally out of context.
So it just says in people's feeds, last night in Soho, and the image is Wolverine with the glowing pink purple claws.
Oh my goodness. So spoilers for Last Night in Soho, and I recommend if anyone likes Edgar Wright or like Anya Taylor-Joy or Matt Smith,
you can't go Edgar wrong with Edgar Wright.
Exactly, put that in the poster.
Edgar, exactly.
And then Edgar Wright would do the Picard facepalm as he read the poster.
I want that blurb on the back of something. You can't go Edgar wrong with Edgar Wright.
I would say
Screenplay Rewind.
I would say if you're interested in this at all, go in as blind as possible, because it was really cool to watch this and just have no idea what I was in for, because all I fucking knew about this film was that it was directed by Edgar Wright, and then it starred Anya Taylor-Joy and Matt Smith. So obviously I'm gonna watch that. Like, I don't need to know anymore.
Don't do any research on the silence either beforehand.
Don't do any research. It's hard to even get like spoiled on the genre for this movie, because no site is in agreement. And I can't blame them as far as what genre to place this in.
Horror, noir, thriller?
Mystery. It's got like a young adult supernatural mystery element to it, which is something you don't see. I was stunned that this was Edgar Wright. This has elements of it that are how music driven it is. Has a lot of DNA from Baby Driver, obviously.
Yeah, my research at the same time, I completely agree with what you said. But my research said at the same time that he specifically was trying to steer away from doing anything related to Baby
Yeah.
Driver. He wanted to go in a
Saw that
completely
too.
different direction. But like, you watch this movie and it is very different, but there's definitely some of that DNA in here.
For sure. It has a lot of the same kind of visual language of his movies, how creative he likes to be with his visuals, like with something like Scott Pilgrim, and obviously like with Baby Driver, like syncing up like the music with the visuals.
Really, really good use of lighting and color. A lot of color in this movie.
The opening shot of just like the darkness surrounding the door is very striking image, and really sets up the tone for a lot of the just beautiful imagery in this. What were kind of like just your quick general like reactions to it?
I knew nothing about it. I had only heard of it, so I didn't know what I was watching when you picked it. Yeah, it definitely kept me on the edge of my seat, man.
It's cool how it evolves, right? Like you don't as you're watching it, even when you're like 30 to 40 minutes in, you still don't fully know what genre you're in, and that's cool. I like that unpredictability.
It takes a few turns, and it always has I don't know. It's difficult to describe because the way that they capture the 60s and then relate what's happening there to what's happening to Thomas and Mackenzie, and like, I don't know. It's a hard movie to describe to someone. My wife asked me about this movie after I watched it, and I didn't know what to tell her. I just watched it, and I don't know what to tell her. Because it's such a hard movie it's a fever dream of a movie.
Which ties in with its theming.
Exactly, because it's a dream, and he wanted it to come across as a dream. Yeah,
so I read the same thing you did, where he was potentially going to be moving directly ahead with the Baby Driver sequel that has been confirmed, but then he wanted to strike out and set something that is so polar opposite to where there are, like we talked about, like there are many scenes that have elements that make you feel like, oh, this is absolutely Edgar Wright, but then at the same time, he wouldn't be the first person I'd guess if I didn't know it was by him. It's not one of those things where like when you're watching a Tarantino movie, if you were on a deserted island and someone like airdropped, like The Hateful Eight without seeing any of the cast and credits for it, be like, this is a fucking Tarantino movie. Like I can just tell. You would not be able to guess that with this.
Yeah, it's very different. I see, like, in some of the podcasts and stuff I listened to, some people bounced off of this movie, and like, I get it. I can see why, because this movie is so unique. Like, this is a movie made by Edgar Wright for Edgar Wright, I think. And if you're not into Edgar Wright, you're not into this movie.
I think a lot of the differences come too. We should also credit. So Edgar Wright is the director and co-wrote it with Krysty Wilson-Cairns, who she actually wrote 1917. With Sam Mendes, and I think
which we covered. Yes.
Do what? Sorry. We covered it. I adore that movie. It's so fucking good. You just want to talk like one of the most perfectly like simplistic movies, as far as everything in that movie belongs, and there's not a single thing I would change.
Oh my god, Jeff. We covered 1917. That's episode 32. We covered that on August 28th, 2021.
That's wild.
It's like 2.5 years ago.
That's like almost as old as World War I, man. That's
my god. It's fucking sad, bro.
But I think her being a co-writer on this actually adds a lot of those elements to it, as far as where it feels like an Edgar Wright thing in some instances, but then it becomes like its own thing. And if this is like what happens when she co-writes with Edgar Wright, in 1917 is what happens when she co-writes with Sam Mendes. Like I'm fascinated to see like more from her, because well, you're stepping in the room with like these like super established directors, and to be able to tell them we need to go in a different direction. Like I don't know if you had seen this in the research for it, but Edgar Wright actually wanted all of the 60s period piece scenes to be without dialogue.
Yes.
And it was
I
her
read
decision to be with the thinking of, no, she needs to have dialogue, because if it's just a silent film, you can't connect with her as much. You need to have dialogue from her so that you feel more connected to her, so that you have more pathos with her character when you find out, just how awful and tragic her story truly is.
This is what we're talking about when someone needs to be in the room to tell you no, because
exactly.
that is an absolutely great decision on her part.
I totally agree. I think that's a great decision, and you need someone to be able to tell you no, especially when what your decision amounts to is really just a stylistic choice, like that just services the styling of the movie instead of the characters. And I think you should always move in the motion of making the character stronger, like she said. So I totally agree.
You'll notice,
if only George Lucas had a co-writer, we might have been able to avoid a lot of racism in Phantom Menace.
How great is that Madonna biopic gonna be, where she is starring and writing and directing and producing? Like, how great is that movie gonna be?
What's like the opposite of a conflict of interest?
Yeah, you gotta have someone on your staff or some friend or someone willing to tell you no when you have all the power, because on occasion they would be correct. It might be your vision, but on occasion you get someone that's correct. And I'm just trying to imagine those scenes with no dialogue, and it's very sparse dialogue, but you'll notice there is no dialogue that does not involve Sandy in those scenes, right?
Yeah.
Everything is silent until Sandy comes along. So it gives it a really weird vibe still. And the goal was supposed to be that, this is a dream. It's supposed to feel like a dream. And it still has that weird, everything is kind of 15 degrees off normal vibe to it because of that.
Yeah.
And the way it's filmed and the way it's shot. So it still accomplishes that goal, I think. But I think it would have been very weird to do all of this just through body language,
Yeah.
I think Anya Taylor-Joy could do it, but I don't think it would be nearly as good.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You also, I think the dialogue that they give Matt Smith, that he just crushes as far as
delivery.
Presenting it to where he is the suavest motherfucker in the room at first, and what he turns out to be.
Yeah.
That can't happen unless you let Matt Smith, be magic with his dialogue. Also, can we just talk about the extent to which Matt Smith can be a lovable dork and like as Doctor Who, and then just be fucking scum of the earth? He's amazing.
There's a few episodes, when in Doctor Who, there's a few episodes here and there where the Doctor's dark side comes out.
Yeah.
I would say of the reboot from 2005 forward, the most sinister one during those types of episodes would be Matt Smith.
Agreed.
The way he does his eyes and his facial expressions, the way he can look into the camera, he would be almost chilling, and it's a fucking kid's show, dude. He would just fucking chill your blood at times.
Yeah, he was so perfect for his character on House of the Dragon too, because his character in House of the Dragon is also. You really got to watch House of the Dragon because it's really fucking good. But he plays one of the Targaryens, who is in some moments incredibly likable and suave and cool, and then just becomes incredibly dark, very similar to his character in Last Night in Soho. That just like Matt Smith is fucking incredible, and I'm glad that he is. He went like a period of time without really being in anything, and I'm glad he's circling back around to be in something like this and to be in House of the Dragon.
Do you think he was trying to let Doctor Who die down? Do you think he just kind of disappeared from the face of the earth to let Doctor Who die down so he could be separated from it?
He also might have just needed a break, because like, what is it like the Doctor Who actors always say, like, you're gonna need knee surgery when you're done with this shit because it's so intense for them.
Yeah, it's their shooting schedule is just nonstop. They just crank them out.
Yeah, that's why they always leave after like 2 seasons because they're fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Tennant went and started a podcast. He was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Man. But, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the cast. So we have Thomas and McKenzie, who I think most people would probably associate Jojo Rabbit with her. I think that's the only other thing I've seen her in was Jojo Rabbit. Let me scroll back through her.
Yeah,
just Jojo.
It has to be that is what I was thinking of, because I swear to God, the whole movie I was like, I know I've seen you in something else. I've seen Jojo Rabbit. We covered it on the show. I don't recall anything else that I would recognize her from. So everything I was thinking of during that movie just must have been straight up from, because she's the girl they're hiding, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, she plays Eloise, who is the protagonist for this, but we do spend a lot of time following Anya Taylor-Joy as our protagonist because of the way the dream sequences work. And how fucking amazing is that one dance sequence when it's like switching them in and out off screen?
Dude,
it's a gorgeous shot. I love it so much.
Not only that, like the first time it happens when she is the reflection in the mirror and they're doing the same motions.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then
it's so cool.
When the Sandy is in the booth talking to the various men and she's in the reflection, she is Sandy's reflection watching it happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool subtle uses of the reflections, and I guarantee you
some of them ain't so subtle. Mom ain't so subtle.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, I think there's probably a lot of subtle uses of the reflections that you don't even catch on like first viewing.
You know what?
Just like very, very minor details in the background.
You know what I kept doing? I kept watching their shadows also to see if there was any difference in their shadows. But
yeah,
because there are a lot of scenes, especially I have this one mental image of Sandy coming up a staircase, which I didn't know the significance of until the end of the movie when we're on a staircase. But when she's coming up a staircase and her shadow is very pronounced on the wall, and I was looking for like any differences in the shadows where something, maybe that's not her shadow or something, but I never noticed anything.
It's really cool. I can almost guarantee you the imagery of the reflections was probably like one of the first things Edgar Wright had in his head when he was thinking of this movie's like core story, was like the idea of the reflections and everything, because it is such a driving force in the movie, especially with her seeing the reflections of her mom that had passed away. You don't really like fully understand the context yet of that until you get further on. I like how the first half of the movie really shows the glamorous sides of the 60s and how it even with its kind of color corrections becomes more and more grungy. There is a sequence in the movie when they are simulating being shit-faced drunk that is one of the best representations of being that drunk that I've seen in a movie, where it's like
they didn't just do that screen wavy thing like you always see.
You feel like you're in a fucking kaleidoscope, and it's really well done. It was actually making me nauseous to watch, which is like, you know, like the point, because you feel like you're gonna die because you're so nauseous.
The one that always affected me the most physically is, have you ever played Fable on Xbox?
Very, very briefly.
Did you ever get drunk in Fable?
I don't think I did.
Eventually, as you keep drinking beer, the screen starts to run. The screen just starts to drip down, and it looks like everything on the image is just running down the screen like it's a painting that got wet. And
nice.
That always made me physically ill, which in my book means it did a good job.
Right.
Because that is how I'm supposed to be feeling if I'm drunk. And you can't see shit, and then when your character vomits, it clears up.
Yeah. They encapsulate that feeling of the center of the room always shifting really well. I thought it was incredibly well done. I just real quickly want to call out the crew. So the cinematography was done by Chung Hoon Chung, who I would almost bet worked on him worked with him before. I'm pulling back. So he did DP for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. He's done. He did the DP work for it. So it looks like I'm surprised he hadn't worked with Edgar Wright before, because I totally could have seen Edgar Wright being a guy that always like the way that Nolan will work with the same people over and over again, and some people like that, like Ryan Johnson constantly works with the same group of guys, because the visual language is very Edgar Wright, but then does have elements of specificity that are outside of Edgar Wright. So I totally could see that now. The art direction and like the set design and everything is also really, really strong when it switches to the stuff in the 60s, because it looks like the 60s, but it doesn't look. It doesn't
look like it's on a soundstage.
Yeah, it doesn't appear artificial. It looks like the 60s, but there's also like just a slight level of grunginess to it that makes it feel like more authentic. Because a lot of stuff, like exactly, like I think you made it, you pointed out perfectly. A lot of 60s stuff looks like it's on a soundstage, and this does not present itself as artificial at all. It seems very, very legit.
There's a little bit of a cultural touchstone that doesn't come through for us, that is coming through the movie, where like Edgar Wright just talks about everything that he's ever seen film-wise, what to do with Soho, right? And that era and that part of London always seems like that it is about either paints it really, really good, or paints everything that happens as really, really bad, and uses a lot of dark colors and dark textures. And he had a specific line I read where he talked about how it always, a lot of those films that are about Soho show women like that are going to try to become the next singer or whatever, basically getting punished for having dreams and stuff. And he wanted this movie to be, it pays homage to that kind of film, but he wanted it to be a little bit more like realistic. Like he wanted it to be a little bit more of like what it would have actually been like, and have a little bit more positive tone to it. And then it takes that turn, rather than just being like, well, yeah, this happened to her because it's her fault. Like he wanted her to be the victim and not being punished for having dreams, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, this movie, like, I don't know about you, I haven't seen a whole lot of those movies he's referring to, but this movie, I think, based on his description, I'm having a hard time finding that quote now because I closed that tab a long time ago. But based on his description, I think he pretty much accomplished that goal.
I agree,
because you can't help but feel for Sandy.
Oh yeah, this is a very the extent to which this movie is dark is shocking for an Edgar Wright movie. Like I was not prepared for how dark the story gets at times, and just how like fucking depressing it can be, because it is encapsulating this point in time, and it's not just this point in time. Like the extent to which chasing celebrity becomes a fucking meat grinder is constant, and it's really, really sad. But unfortunately, a lot of people just glamorize it, and they gloss over the fact that this happens fucking all the time.
The exploitation part.
Yeah.
I think that is the part that makes you so uncomfortable with what is happening is, yeah, there's a supernatural element to it, but what you're watching is a story, especially in recent years, as we've been learning, that is all too universal among people that either sought celebrity status or obtained celebrity status.
Hell, I'm gonna be honest. Some of the thinking behind this might have come from him working alongside Kevin Spacey on Baby Driver.
Oof.
You just don't know. You don't know who you're working with sometimes. And when you like learn more about these people and like what they're capable of, it's a dark industry, man. Like,
yeah,
because like think about it, like that's rough to think about as someone just watching the movie. But when you cast someone and then you have them in the movie and you work alongside them. Like, hell, he probably even became friends with Kevin Spacey. And then when you like learn more about who you're working with and like the extent to which people can be scumbags, it's tough stuff. Like it's one of those things where it's so constant and it's so fucking ever present that it's disgusting. It's tough.
And whether you're right or wrong, we won't know, but you are also describing a moment in the film where Thomasin McKenzie like learns the turn, right? Because she has already started emulating Sandy when the movie takes a turn and she starts learning all these horrible things that happened to Sandy. As she learns that she's being exploited and basically being pimped out. Because it is just all of a sudden, and it's a gut punch when we take that turn.
Yeah, because the juxtaposition of the first scene with Sandy and Jack versus the later sequences it's like, dude, it hurts your fucking soul when you see what's really like going on. And
I wonder how those first few scenes of Sandy and Jack play out knowing the turn.
Right.
Because this is my first time watching this movie. Have you seen this movie before?
This was my first time watching it too.
I want to know, if we go back and watch it, how much more sinister Matt Smith's performance is at the beginning of this movie. Before we learn what is actually happening. If he comes across like predatory or creepy at all, and it's just so subtle you don't notice it your first viewing.
And then you also find out that like they don't come right out and say it, but they pretty much say like he staged the whole thing with his creepy friend, you know, that he punches the first meeting with Anya Taylor-Joy, because he ends up just hanging out with him in a bar later that Anya Taylor-Joy's at, and then she sees them together. Where that was like ostensibly staged to make him, you know, like look like the hero for her and everything. It's so gross. It's tough to watch. One of my favorite performances in the movie is Diana Rigg as Miss Collins.
Dude, one of my favorite performances in anything, even stuff I have not seen, is Diana Rigg.
Is she not just a fucking incredible? I'm so sad. Like when I watched the movie at the beginning, I saw that it was dedicated to her, and it's so sad we didn't get more from her, because, oh my god, like the main thing that people will remember her for was Lady Tyrell in Game of Thrones.
Oh my god!
In a fucking show with as good of a cast as Game of Thrones had, and for you to still go on the screen, and no matter who you are on screen with, you are the fucking person stealing the show. It's crazy. Like, she was phenomenal in that show, and she's phenomenal in this too.
Yeah, my god. If you look at her IMDb photo, it's her from the hospital in 1971. She looks like everything we're talking about in the dream sequences of this movie. Like, that one photo is perfectly encapsulating
agreed.
Everything that we're talking about. And I mean, a little Sandy-esque. I almost wonder how much of that played in, because spoilers, she is also Sandy.
I also just think that she was a great choice too, because she is specifically great about being incredibly likable, but then all of a sudden will come across as the most like terrifying figure in your universe. Like, she can like when the reveal officially happens towards the end of this, and she's like fucking bone chilling, dude.
You
she's
mean when
terrifying.
You mean when it's revealed that she's H.H. Holmes?
Right? Dude. So here's a question too. How much of this movie's twist did you figure out? Because this was interesting for me, because I was trying to figure this out, and I figured out pretty early on that she was Anya Taylor-Joy. Had no fucking clue she was H.H. Holmes. So what all did you figure out when it comes to this?
I was trying to figure it out as I watched it, something I don't normally do, and I learned that I am bad at it, Jeff.
Okay.
I learned that I am bad at it because it totally escaped me. Early on, they show you like a letter that's addressed to like Alexandria Collins or whatever earlier on. And there's a scene where Anya Taylor-Joy, the dude asks her name, and she throws out Alexandria, and he's like, "No, your real name." And then she throws out Sandy. Like, she did give her real name the first time.
Yeah.
And that just completely went over my head. But that is basically screaming at you, who she is. I was thrown off by Terrence Stamp also. So
I was too. And then on fucking like when you think back to that one scene when they show you who Terrence Stamp was in the past, it's like, oh fucking duh, the dude even sounds like Terrence Stamp. Why didn't I figure that out? But it's smart too, because your initial reaction is, oh, that's Matt Smith. You know, that's gonna be him. It makes sense. But then that's too easy. It's too much of a red herring.
It's too obvious.
It's too obvious. Yeah.
Jeff, I believe the term is red snapper. Yeah, I felt
really dumb for not figuring out the Terrence Stamp part of it.
Well, part of it also is, I mean, they're playing with your expectations, because anyone who watches any kind of noir movie or anything that involves, I mean, we're essentially time traveling as the audience, right?
Yeah.
They're playing with your expectations, and Terrence Stamp is being creepy.
Yeah, yeah, he's dubbed handsy by the fucking people around town. Like, he's a piece of shit. He's just not this piece of shit in particular.
But he's the survivor, Jeff, because he tried to talk her into leaving her profession.
Yeah.
So he's the survivor, and then he's not.
Yeah. Either die a hero or live long enough to become handsy.
Oh man.
This fucking movie, dude. Like, I feel bad making jokes about it because it's such a fucking dark subject matter, you know? Fuck, man.
By the way, Jeff, Terrence Stamp. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
I love Terrence Stamp.
Can we just say Terrence Stamp? Come on.
Terrence Stamp. Come, son of Jarrell.
I forgot that he was that he played Stick.
Oh yeah,
I totally forgot he was in Elektra. He played Stick.
Yeah,
but yeah, Terrence Stamp, man. He's as always delivering one of his best performances in this film, as is everyone in this movie.
Yeah, great cast. Phenomenal stuff. Also, it's also really, really sad how the entire movie could have been avoided had the roommate not been a colossal piece of shit.
Yeah,
because the roommate being just the worst fucking person on the planet really, really fucks over Eloise in a tragic way, because she wouldn't have even sought out this fucking H.H. Holmes apartment if her roommate just hadn't been a complete piece of shit for no reason. Eloise does nothing wrong, and she just gets like fucking bullied by what's her fuck, like, just constantly.
Dude,
what's the Jocasta? Is that the roommate?
Yeah, something like that.
She's trying to go by like one name to be like more fucking Beyonce level edgy.
Yeah.
It's like fuck you. Just the worst.
But I mean, that's the profession she's chosen, right? That's the world that she's chosen to be in.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how when the turn after the turn happens and you go from rooting for Sandy, who you think is the victim, and then it turns out she's H.H. Holmes? Like,
oh my goodness.
Like, okay, yeah, she took matters into her own hands or whatever with Matt Smith, but then the idea that she's just a fucking spider, like luring other dudes in, like getting revenge on everyone, not just Matt Smith.
Yeah, that adds like a whole other level to it, because so first of all, if the only person she killed was Matt Smith, that's fucking self-defense, dude. He was pulling a knife on her, you know?
Exactly.
That's just flat out self-defense, but she turns out to be a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you totally get what made her snap, you know? You totally understand it, but she became a fucking serial killer.
You could say a young girl died in that room that night.
And then she later says, like, Sandy died 100 times in that room, and that line just like cuts your fucking soul, dude. It's like, oh my god.
Like, yeah,
Ugh.
like the person you've been rooting for this whole time is basically the villain. Like,
What? Yeah, it's like one of those things where Matt Smith is the antagonist, but has also created another one with like what he did to Sandy.
he creates a monster.
Yeah,
right?
he creates the monster.
Is this film a good way to differentiate an antagonist from like the villain? Because they're not always the same character.
Yeah, true.
Because he is definitely the antagonist, but she is the villain. Like this whole thing is the origin story for a serial killer.
How fucked up is it when she just casually stabs the boyfriend in the chest? Or not the chest, but like kind of in the
How
abdomen.
happy were you he didn't die immediately, Jeff?
I know, right? It's just like I love it. He made it.
Can we talk about poor is it John?
I think it's John. That's the name of the yeah, John.
Can we talk about poor John here?
The poor dude,
who's
the poor
trying, dude, if I had the night that he had when she witnesses the murder and then H.H. Holmes is banging down the door.
Oh my god.
And he's pulling up his pants as he runs out. And I mean,
he John McClane's his feet too. He runs across the glass.
Yeah, and like
shoot the glass.
Not to be that guy, but I mean, it probably doesn't look good that she's screaming in terror and he's pulling up his pants when the old white lady walks in the room.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's a lot going on here. He's still talking to her the next day. Like,
he is this. How sweet was him giving her the Coke can with "sorry" written on it? That was such a fucking wholesome moment, dude. Oh my god.
In a movie that otherwise gets as far away from wholesome as it can.
In a movie that has Lady Tyrell putting fucking bodies beneath the floorboards,
and then
like
renting the room out,
like she's in a fucking Edgar Allan Poe short story. Oh, and also, she's by the fucking garlic bistro so that it covers up the smell, dude, of the fucking bodies beneath the floorboards.
I will never understand, but I get, like, what happened to her. She snapped. She's killing these people. She's stuffing them in the walls and in the floorboards. But then to turn around and rent that room out to someone?
That's when we've crossed the line.
Like, how? Like, that just goes to show you how little she thinks of what she did.
Also,
of how inconsequential what she did is. She's not even really trying to hide it. She's disposing of the bodies, but then she's renting the room out to people to live in.
Also, what a great tiny bit of foreshadowing that is like so poignant, but you don't really pick up on it because it just makes sense for people that rent out rooms like that. When it says only women are allowed to rent rooms under her.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
If you go back and look at the ad that Eloise looks at the very beginning when she first finds the room and board that Lady Tyrell has, it says women only.
She's always going to be Lady Tyrell. Always.
Lady Tyrell, goddamn right.
I think if I had met her when she was alive, I would have been terrified of her.
Because of Matt Smith, I want him to know it was me.
You did it. I was looking for a way to work it in earlier when we brought her up. We were talking about casting, and you fucking did it. You beat me to it. Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's at the bottom of like her little advertisement, and that is such good fucking foreshadowing, man.
Oh man, yeah. And then the whole no male visitors after 8 o'clock.
After 8 p.m. Yeah, there's a lot of very fucking good foreshadowing that's subtle as hell. That's like, damn, that's good when you like know all the puzzle pieces later on.
Yeah. This movie, you can tell this movie has been baking for a while because what is it? Edgar Wright was thinking about this movie in 2007 or something like that, and it came out in 2021.
I think he had the basic plot line for it kind of rumbling around in his head since 2007.
Okay, so let's talk about something, because in my research, a lot of stuff that I was looking at keeps talking about. I keep forgetting Eloise.
Yeah, Eloise.
Oh, God damn it, Britain. Just call her Elise.
One element that was super Baby Driver was how her name was the name of a song, and that was like a big thing with Baby Driver.
everything that I was looking at for research, whatever articles and interviews and stuff, people were kept talking about Eloise like she had something wrong mentally, or like she's dreaming or whatever. Like she's literally straight up clairvoyant, right? I mean, she's seeing her mom around, and then with the fact that she solved this murder case, like she's actually clairvoyant. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty like hazy on the details because she might also just be.
Because I took it as she actually has these abilities. Because isn't that why her mom committed suicide? Because
Yeah,
she
it's
had these
alluded
abilities
to.
also, and she couldn't live with it.
Because they're I don't know, like they're a medium, because she's not able to see the future. She's
okay.
She's reliving the past through memories and being around the deaths, and she's like a medium where she's able to embody stuff.
She's not a medium. She's a clairvoyant. There are 3 classes of clairvoyance: precognition, the ability to perceive and predict future; retrocognition, the ability to see past events; and remote viewing, the perception of contemporary events happening outside the range of normal perception. So she fits into retrocognition, which is a class of clairvoyance.
Oh, okay. I always associated clairvoyancy with like being able to see the future. I didn't realize it had like subtext.
My understanding of being a medium is more like Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost.
Okay.
That might be channeling, but
yeah, there's a whole lot of like nuance to the classifications of these abilities and shit.
Let's see.
Yeah, there's a lot of like.
Medium has the role of an intermediary between the world of the living and the world of the spirit. Mediums say they can listen to and relay messages from spirits, or that. Okay, so here's the difference. She is watching it happen like it's a movie in front of her. She is not having the spirit sitting there telling her what happened.
Okay.
So if Sandy was coming to her and telling her a story, or Matt Smith was sitting down next to her and telling her about how he was murdered and she fucking did it, then she would be a medium. But retrocognition, the ability to see past events, is listed under clairvoyance.
I thought it was really cool too, the kind of twist about how the ghosts coming after her
are seeking help. It's got a real Crimson Peak vibe to it, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the imagery movie I'm thinking of.
I think so. I saw the movie, but it's been
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I think you're right. Man, really cool twist. This movie has a lot of layers to the twist. It's really interesting.
Oh shit! I forgot Charlie Hunnam was in that movie, and Vern Gorman.
Oh yeah,
I totally forgot.
Did you watch that movie?
I did. I'm like the only person on the planet that liked it.
I liked it too.
For some reason, I had you in the camp of it was okay at best.
I liked it. It wasn't one that I super
I mean, it's Jessica Chastain, but everyone else around her is pretty much crushing it. I almost said cushing it because I'm looking at Edith Cushing because she's the main character in Crimson Peak, and I tried to say crushing it, and I almost said everyone else is cushing it.
I don't know if you stumbled upon this on the Wikipedia page, but this was interesting to me about the movie and its kind of original conception. Sam Mendes, who I mentioned earlier, who co-wrote 1917 with wilson-cairns, the co-writer of this movie. So Mendes first introduced Wright to screenwriter Christy Wilson-Cairns, who later co-wrote 1917 with Mendes. Wilson-Cairns told Wright in passing that she had worked as a bartender at the Toucan in Soho for 5 years and lived around the corner above the Sunset Strip on Dean Street. On the night of the Brexit vote in 2016, they went on a bar crawl through the basement bars of Soho, ending up at one called Trisha's, where Wright pitched her the story of Late Night in Soho. So this was a little bit more details as far as like when he was talking about this was like what we talked about earlier about how he was wanting it to be like dreams and how he wanted there to be no dialogue in the sequences. I just found it interesting that there's a lot of like what happens with the Eloise character is actually callbacks to the co-writer's
Yeah.
history as far as working at the bar,
Which would
in the area and
probably,
everything.
help make it feel more grounded, more real.
Yeah, for
Everything that
sure.
she's going through working there and trying to put herself through design school and stuff.
So they actually rented an office in Soho to work on the script,
That seems
consulting
like a bit much.
consulting a folder of research collected by. I mean, but they wanted to go stay in a hotel. You know, that you never know. It could have been an H.H. Holmes hotel. You never know.
Could have been.
They just want to get that look at that real lived-in experience for it. But they rented an office in Soho to work on the script, consulting a folder of research collected by Lucy Party, a BAFTA award-winning casting director and researcher who had interviewed people who lived and worked in Soho in the 60s and the present day, because Wright wanted to be true to the history of the area. Yeah, it's interesting. The extent to which they really wanted to get this right, as far as, because it is a very specific vibe that this whole area has, because it's like there's a combination of the arts and stuff with like the fashion designing and just like the pub crawling and everything, so I kind of get it, because he wanted to make it pretty, because like Edgar Wright seems like a real perfectionist when it comes to this stuff.
At that point, you're starting to edge a little bit into method, which is a bit much. But yeah. I want to go back to something we were talking about earlier. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first times Sandy sees Matt Smith's character. Knowing what you know about his character, look at the way he's looking at her, dude. In this screenshot,
there's a lot of subtleties to his expressions. They can come across as like, well, he's walking that tightrope of like super suave James Bond
and having an agenda
and having a fucking ulterior motive of being a piece of shit, which is a very fine line,
Yeah.
Man, I also love the cinematography. You'll notice when they're kind of like showing the very glamour-esque kind of show, it's very like a lot of hues of gold, and then it turns out to be like a lot of hues of like blue and everything when it turns more grungy. It's just a cool touch with the lighting and everything too. It's a lot more bleak. Yeah. So what are your kind of like overall thoughts on it? Because I ended up I love the roller coaster ride, as far as like not really knowing the genre that this movie would fall into, because I had never even watched a trailer. I just knew that it existed. It was Edgar Wright, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Matt Smith, so I wanted to watch it. So I really like that kind of roller coaster ride aspect of it, of not knowing what I was in for.
Yeah, I knew nothing about this movie. Going into it, I had heard about it. I had heard people's thoughts on it, but I'd never heard anyone talk about it, which is interesting.
Unfortunately, this got really killed by COVID. This was one of the movies released during the pandemic, so its box office revenue was non-existent because it just didn't work.
Yeah, but I really like this movie. I think it's a really good movie.
I think this is going to end up being one of those kind of cult classics. I think once people eventually come around to seeking this out later on, just because it's a fucking Edgar Wright movie, and he becomes more and more of a
well, it basically already is, isn't it?
Sort of, like you said, like it's not one, especially on the heels of how successful Baby Driver was. You would think this would have a bigger presence online, as far as like more activity of people talking about it. I just think that people will like it. They just haven't sought it out yet, because it just kind of disappeared.
What do you think about the ending?
What aspect of it exactly?
Do you think her seeing the reflection of Sandy in the mirror is a little bit like almost campy? Does that kill anything for you? Do you have an opinion on that?
So I like some of the kind of, it's hard to say. I don't dislike it. I think I understand what they were going for. I think they wanted to kind of show that she might have like a little bit more of an edge to her now, because she was so understanding of Sandy's story.
Yeah.
That she might have a little bit more of a more kind of cynical outlook on everything now going forward, especially given her career field, like how fucking cutthroat
Yeah.
like fashion design can be. But is that kind of how you took it, as far as like she's got a little bit more of like a darker edge to her now because that's why she's seeing a bit of Sandy in herself now?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really figure out how I felt about that, because like that's a horror movie trope, right? To end like that, especially anything supernatural. But
it also makes sense for this specifically though, because like the mirrors and the reflections
does.
Yeah, it was such a constant thread that I'm more okay. It's it's not like the super generic like final jump scare type thing that we get so often. It didn't feel.
But at the same time, she was turning around expecting to see her mom, and it was Sandy.
Yeah, but it's not it's not like fucking Grudge Juno. It's not that level of stupidity.
I think where I land on it is it's just them. I mean, okay, first off, let's just say sometimes the door is red in a story because the door is fucking red. But I feel like Edgar Wright doesn't waste any time or any moment on screen. So I feel like if it means anything, it's just like you said that she oh god, I lost my thought. I had it phrased in my head. I had it phrased perfectly. That she has a bit, I mean, no pun intended, she has a bit of an edge to her now. Like she started out this naive little girl and kind of moving to the big city. And she's got more of an edge to her, not necessarily cutthroat, but it feels like she's grown up a little. I guess
it feels like she now has the she more so now has the ability to kind of stand up for herself, I think.
Yeah.
And not to the extent of I'm gonna run a fucking H.H. Holmes hotel for 60 years type of thing, but that she does have the kind of the like some of the noble aspects of Sandy, as far as sticking up for herself and initially believing in herself, because it is very like admirable at first how it's so tragic what happens to her, but she is trying to make a name for herself, and she's walking into this club and be like, I'm gonna be your next big star. It's like she had a lot of admirable qualities. She just snapped because of how awful her situation was. So like Sandy did have, and that's like I think that's one of the themings of the movie, is that people have like a lot of layering to them.
People are messy, right?
People have lots of shades to them as far as admirable qualities and darker ones,
There is such a good quote that I've been waiting to talk to you about, but you won't fucking play Spider-Man 2, Jeff. I need you to play Spider-Man 2 so we can talk about one of the side missions.
I'll get around to it one of these decades.
Oh, God. You haven't finished Miles Morales yet, have you?
No, I haven't finished Miles Morales.
Aren't you on the last fight? Isn't that what you told me?
I don't. I think I'm mostly through the like quote unquote like main missions, but I'm not done with the side quests and stuff yet, so I'm not like all the way done.
Yeah.
How many hours? I played for like I think like 9 hours. How much is it to like 100% everything? Like 20. It's like I'm probably halfway done with
Miles
everything.
Morales.
In Miles Morales, yeah.
No, you can 100% everything in Miles Morales in like 12.
Oh, okay.
You could do it even faster probably if you don't like slow down for everything or take in shit like I did. Because I beat all of Spider-Man 2, which is a huge game, in like 19 or 20 hours. 100%ed it, platinumed it. Yeah,
but you're really good at those games because you've played them 1,000 times. I played the first Spider-Man game like 10 years ago when it came out, so I'm ass at those Spider-Man games.
That will help you.
Them very much.
That will help you in Spider-Man 2 because they changed the combat system, and I could not break away for the longest time.
That sucks.
Yeah, I was about the end of the game before it started becoming muscle memory.
When finally clicked.
Yeah. So, but there's a really good quote that ventures into what we're talking about, but it's a major spoiler for you if you don't know. So it's like,
God damn it, Jeff.
I've got a perfect thing from this game I really like that everyone else needs to shut the fuck up about. That
or are people bitching about Spider-Man 2?
Oh God, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it, Jeff. It's a good game. Seek it out, go play it, enjoy yourself, and then if you don't ever play it again, great. But I don't need to hear about it for 20 years about how much you don't like it.
What? I swear to God, people want to just hate on things online even more than they used to. It's strange.
I know. It's like I'm dealing with Star Wars fans.
Yeah, it's like the Star Wars fans, as far as hating literally everything, bled out to all fandoms, and now everyone just hates everything all the time. It's like that Thing quote where like nobody trusts anybody anymore. We're all very tired. This is like all the time. It's very fucking depressing, and I hate it.
But yeah, people are messy. People, like, it's a terrible thing that happened to Sandy. She is a victim, but she is also a victim that victimized, right? Like, the thing that happened with Matt Smith's character is self-defense, but after that, literally setting a trap for everyone that ever used her. Like, it was awful, but the source of everything was Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And no one would blame her for what happened. No right-thinking person would blame her for what happened. But to then go out and become Jack the Ripper in Soho and stuff people's bodies into the walls and into the floorboards, like, it's a terrible thing. She's still a victim. Like, Matt Smith made her into what she is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what she is doing is also a terrible thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where how like the abuse just travels and travels and travels and travels, you know.
Yeah, it's this movie, when it comes to its morality, is very gray, right? There's not a black and white thing. Everybody
outside
is
of the boyfriend is the sweetest fucking soul on the planet. I feel so bad for that dude.
I feel so bad for him. He's like he's like the opposite of what's her fuck from Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
He's the exact opposite of her.
How fucking intense is that scene when he prevents her from accidentally stabbing the former roommate in the face? That scene is fucking nuts.
Dude. And the movie has the same reaction you do, right? Everything just stops at that moment.
Stops.
Like, man. Everyone on screen is holding their breath.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, I feel like this movie is super underrated, and it's a damn shame that it came out during the pandemic, because I feel like if this had been able to come out at a different point in time, I think it would have gotten a lot more buzz and a lot more kind of positive reaction to it, as far as, because it reviewed decently well. I think it has like a 7 on IMDb and like a 75 on Rotten Tomatoes. And with it being Edgar Wright, I mean, fuck. This isn't as accessible a movie as Baby Driver, but it did come out after the success that was Baby Driver. So like all you gotta do is like fucking slap on the trailer from the director of Baby Driver and Shaun of the Dead, and you know, like that will do numbers in its own right.
Yeah.
So it's
and
just
its own Edgar Wright.
It's just a shame that this came out when it did, because I really like this movie a lot, and I think more people need to seek it out, and I think it will get.
It also
I think it eventually will find more of an audience.
It also does feel like a very specific movie, though. I still don't think. I think it would have done good. I don't think it would have been a banger at box office, though, because it is a very specific taste, I think.
Yeah.
So I still don't know how it would have performed. Boy, did that period of history have a lot of side casualties in other industries.
Right. Also, it didn't need to do crazy money to be crazy profitable, because the budget was only $43 million.
Yeah.
I think if this had come out in a non-pandemic era, I think this would have probably like doubled its money. I think it probably would have edged around like 100 million instead of only getting 23 million. Just based off, especially now as we're even further into the kind of like Anya Taylor-Joy thing, where people are obsessed with Anya Taylor-Joy. I think it would have done. I think if this movie had come out like this summer, for instance, or like this October, I think it would have done a lot better. I think it would have easily crossed like around the 100 million mark. It's just it's very sad that it kind of went, you know, unrecognized because it has a lot of good. At the very least, it needs to be seen for the performances because the performances are really great. The cinematography is great. The use of the reflections and everything is really fucking cool. The dance sequence when they're switching out the actresses is fucking great. There's a lot of stuff to like in here, and I'm glad that I finally got around because like that's the sad thing about like it's such like an undiscovered movie that it's an Edgar Wright movie with Matt Smith and Anya Taylor-Joy, and even you and I took like 3 years to watch it.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of crazy.
Well,
But,
I had to be fair, I'd kind of missed the boat on Anya Taylor-Joy. Like I'm just now discovering her.
Yeah, but Edgar Wright
But Edgar Wright, Matt Smith,
yeah. We should have been in the pot. Oh, also, if they ever need to recast Two-Face, Matt Smith would be a fucking awesome Two-Face, I think.
Oh, my God. Like, I always loved that image of Doctor Who that someone photoshopped to be the Joker, but Two-Face.
I think he'd be excellent as that character.
Oh, he'd be great as Two-Face.
Even in this movie, he has, like, the perfect, like, suit and haircut for Two-Face. Like, even look at these images you share, like, that's fucking Two-Face. You know, I love it.
You know, with like the way Anya Taylor-Joy like moves and like uses her I can never say this word, uses her like femininity
Anemone.
yeah, she'd be a good Poison Ivy.
I could see that.
Throw a red wig on her.
Yeah,
I
can see that.
She would be. You know what? I'm looking at this picture of her that I sent you in the Discord, and especially with the shape, those almond eyes that she has, she would look a lot, I think, like the Betos Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah. I like how this episode just divulged into Batman.
Back into fan casting, like what you do.
Back into fan casting, like we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Good movie. Good movie, good. Go. What is your saying? Good movie, good. Go watch. Is that what you say?
Good movie, good. Go watch.
Yeah, good movie, good. Go watch.
Yeah.
I went ahead and bought. So this was like $4 to rent or $5 to buy on Apple. So I just bought it. Because I was like, fuck it, it's an extra $1.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to spend $5.
Yeah, I'll probably check this out again eventually.
I'm curious what a rewatch is like. I only rented it, so you'll have to tell me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really curious what a rewatch looks like.
I'm surprised you didn't just buy it. Did you buy it on Apple or did you rent it on Apple? It was like
I rented it on Apple. I didn't even look at the purchase price.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always check them out on Just Watch first on the pricing and stuff.
You got to really pay attention to Apple pricing because I went to look at Ghostbusters Afterlife, and when I bought that, I just happened to see that for like the price of Ghostbusters Afterlife and then a combo pack of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 was cheaper than just like buying Ghostbusters 1. Like I was just like, what the fuck is happening?
There's a lot of stuff like that that's really fucking idiotic.
I bought Ghostbusters Afterlife and 1 and 2 for cheaper than I could have bought
the
Ghostbusters 1. Yeah.
It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
I don't know who runs those things, but it feels like they just don't fucking give a shit about comparing the kind of like large scale assortment of options. And just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Here's a combo pack that's cheaper than that one thing by itself.
Yeah, I was just like, well, why the fuck wouldn't I?
Right.
So,
yeah. Did you have any other parts of the movie you wanted to touch on before we
we pretty much touched on everything. I just feel bad for Dude Bro, for John.
For John.
I don't know why I can't
remember his fucking name.
I don't know why I can't remember his name. If you noticed, I've been calling her Sandy, and then I've been calling Eloise Thomason McKenzie because I can't remember Eloise because God damn it, Great Britain. Just call her Elise. I can handle that.
Yeah. What's also like ironic isn't her name in The Witch Thomas? Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy in The Witch, her character name is Thomason, which is it's like kind of ironic.
Christ. Which, by the way, her performance in that movie is why Edgar Wright settled on her, right? Originally for Eloise, but
Eloise,
Eloise, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. I think he had originally wanted her to be the Eloise role, but then I think once he got further in development, they decided she'd be better for the '60s side of the timeline and everything.
Which I agree.
Yeah, I think the cast is all perfectly cast for this and really, really great.
I like he sent her a draft and she was just like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm so excited to see Edgar Wright's future movies, because after like this and with Baby Driver, and you compare like these two movies to Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim, the same dude that made this made Scott fucking Pilgrim, and it's just the range on
is that
tone.
our episode 100? We keep talking about Scott Pilgrim like it's gonna be on the show.
We gotta fucking cover Scott, but yeah, we might have to do Scott Pilgrim for 100, because I fucking adore that movie, dude. you just missed him.
Yeah.
One part of that movie that I find myself quoting now constantly without even initially realizing it until I figured out like where I knew it from is evil. I said that to Aurora like 2 days ago, and I was like, what is that fucking from? Oh yeah, it's Scott Pilgrim, because of course it is.
Yeah, one of my favorite jokes that I feel like goes over everybody's head is when he goes to fight Nega Scott, and it just cuts to them walking out together, and just like, yeah, it turns out he's a really nice guy.
We're gonna get brunch together.
Because he's the asshole. That's why.
We're gonna get brunch together. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, Nega Scott is a nice guy because he's the opposite of him, and he's a dick.
I also constantly go, bread makes you fat. It's like the random quotes in that movie, the ones that I quote the most. It's not even the famous ones.
Chicken's not vegan?
It's milk and eggs, bitch.
No vegan diet, no vegan powers.
I was just about to say, I all the time I will say no vegan diet, no vegan powers.
Dude, we would spend an hour on that cast alone.
Oh my god. Talk about movies you couldn't afford to make today.
Oh, Jesus. It costs more than The Losers.
How much of the cinematic Marvel universe is in Scott Pilgrim? At least half of it. At least half of it.
Dude, Superman is dating Captain Marvel. That's a power couple for you.
Yeah. And Captain America is riding a fucking skateboard in the movie.
Oh, that's pretty funny. He's doing like a weird Clint Eastwood impression that somehow works. It only works because of the charm of Chris Evans.
He's so fucking good in that movie.
Why do I feel like he's just like the biggest dork in real life?
I bet you can't do a grindy thingy on that rail thingy. I could quote that whole 2-hour fucking movie, man. Oh god, I love it so much. Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here before I just start fucking.
Before we just start reviewing Scott Pilgrim, we just move into a whole nother podcast.
Screenplay Rewind earned the power of self-respect. Okay,
Screenplay Rewind got a life.
I will do the sign-offs real quick and then turn it over to Ron so you can reveal what we're covering next time on the show. But if you would like to follow us more, you can always find us on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. Any ratings or reviews on whichever platform you caught us on always helps out. If you did find us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, do all the usual things.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell. Do you have anything set up for notifications on YouTube, by the way? I don't have a single thing notifications like wise on YouTube.
I get them on the YouTube Studio app.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that became such like a big thing for people on YouTube, was like hit the bell, get the notifications out.
Oh, you mean like for stuff that you subscribe?
Yeah. Do you have any notifications set? Because I don't have a single thing set up for notifications.
I have never hit the bell, but I do.
Have you smashed the bell? That's the real question.
I do every once in a while have it notify me when NASA goes live, because rocket launches and stuff. But gotcha. I don't have it, like I don't hit the bell on their account. I just see in my videos this upcoming live stream. I'm like, oh yeah, hit me up when that happens.
Gotcha.
But other than that, no, I've never. I've never done that. I've never done that on Twitch either. I've had people the instant I hit start streaming pop into the chat immediately, and I'm like, y'all fucking creepy. Like, I don't.
No, they're just signed up for notifications, dummy.
Like, I don't
They're not
fucking
waiting
like
on
this.
They're not fucking Matt Smith fucking waiting outside in the bushes,
Dude.
waiting to pounce on you, dude.
You log into Twitch, hit start stream, and have Bobby instantly pop in.
Well, Bobby's always watching.
I know. Bobby's he's just in the bushes. He's just standing in the room holding a bush in front of him. In front of his face.
Just swing away, Bobby. Just swing away.
Swing away.
Where was I at? What was I talking about? Please share us out to your friends. That always helps the channel grow.
No, that's what created Sandy. Don't do that.
Oh fuck. Man.
Let's see. I've got I'm Ronsense TV everywhere on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah. Ron's
and the Twitters.
What's your current main playthrough you're working on now?
Well, been busy. Been trying not to get sick, so it's been a little bit since I've uploaded anything. So I'm still on Subnautica, still on Dark Souls. When I finish Subnautica, though, I'm going to be doing Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
That's my next go-to.
I feel like you're just going to play Spider-Man 2 in perpetuity, just over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for New Game Plus, by the way.
They haven't dropped that? I thought that was supposed to be dropped like a couple months ago.
No, ever since the data breach, they've been...
did that delay all of their shit? That sucks.
Yeah, it delayed everything. A bunch of Wolverine shit was stolen.
Dude, people fucking suck. Can you just calm the hell down and not fucking hack companies, please? Pieces of shit.
Yeah, I don't get it.
People fucking suck, dude.
But yeah, that slowed everything down.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're eventually going to have that as a feature, though. I'm shocked it didn't launch with New Game Plus, though. That's really weird.
If you don't follow video gaming news, there was a big Subnautica roller coaster I told you about.
Oh, with like the live service model shenanigans and stuff.
When Krafton came out and said, "Hey, this, and this," and then Unknown Worlds, which is owned by Krafton, was like, whoa. We never said any of that. None of that is true, and you didn't run any of this shit by us."
Yikes.
Yeah, it was great. Live service model, multiplayer focus. What else was there? There was three major things, and like immediately Unknown Worlds came out. Was like, no. Early access is not live service, and not multiplayer focus. It does have multiplayer. Like, yeah, they just went to immediate damage control, and they have been since.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, like, yeah, it was pretty fun to watch though. Every Subnautica YouTuber I watch had everything on it.
Nice.
It was great.
Yeah, I vaguely had heard about some of the Subnautica stuff. I was just too busy watching Gambit charge at Wolverine's claws on a repeat loop for 12 straight hours because I want that fucking... I hope they still have the really fucking cheesy dialogue in that cartoon that they had in the 90s.
The trailer does.
Because, oh my god, I've been watching, shout out to the Days of Futurecast podcast that does like the episode by episode recaps of the 90s X-Men cartoon. That has some of the most bonkers, cheesy, and incredible dialogue you've ever heard in a piece of fiction, and I fucking love it, dude. Dude, Rogue in one of the episodes calls a guy a peckerwood. They got that onto the cartoon in 1995. She calls a guy a fucking peckerwood. And they put the fucking the dialogue from the episode in their podcast for it, and I love them for that.
One of my favorite things was when the first time in a decade that I had gone back to the Justice League cartoon, and when the Flash is like, "Hey, I'm the fastest man alive," and fucking Hawk Girl in the background, maybe that's why you can't get a date. And I was like, what the fuck?
And then you're just like, did anyone review these to sanction these for a kids channel?
By the way,
apparently not.
That is the most savage thing I have ever heard anyone say to anyone.
Oh man,
Maybe that's why you can't get a date. Like, what?
it's so good.
I was
I
just
love
like, whoa. And then there's another episode when Wonder Woman says that she doesn't understand why men are so essential to their way of life. And Hot Girl's like, hey, don't knock it till you try it. And I was just like, Hot Girl, can we party? Can we just hang out? Like, I'll buy you a beer. We can just talk.
Hot Girl was awesome. They were so good at making the lesser known like members of the league, especially in like Unlimited, like be really cool. Pretty much every side character in Unlimited was really cool.
What's Vigilante was cool. That tells you everything you need to know.
Vigilante cool, dude.
Everything you need to know about Justice League Unlimited. Vigilante was cool.
Green Arrow cool when Green Arrow was a bit of a joke.
Oh, dude, Green Arrow was great. I'm trying to think of the word he uses. There's a quote that I have kept in my quiver. Ever since he said it, I'm trying to think of what did he say? He had a buzzsaw arrow. He got frozen in a block of ice, and you see a buzzsaw come out of the ice, and he cuts himself out, and he's holding a goddamn buzzsaw arrow. And the word he used is escaping me, but he's like, and they said a buzzsaw arrow was blank. Basically self-indulgent. I can't. There's a one word for it.
Gotcha.
I can't think of what it was.
You'll think of it as soon as we stop recording.
As soon as we stop recording, it's gonna kill me.
The second we stop recording, it'll pop into your brain, so don't worry about it. You're good. But Ron, what are we covering next time on the show?
Next time, Jeff, I'm thinking we go from a movie that neither one of us had seen to one we've both seen.
All right.
When's the last time you watched Free Fire?
I think I just watched it the one time when it came out, like a few months after it came out. I'm all about it.
I remember really liking that movie. It is one shootout in a warehouse the entire movie, and I believe it's not. I don't think it is in real time, but it is one shootout in one.
Yeah, it like
setting.
might as well be in real time.
Yeah,
that's the one with Charlton Copley and Captain Marvel, right?
Yes.
Is it Brie Larson? Is that her name?
Yes, Brie Larson. And I don't know. I just remember the performances being really good. I remember it being a lot more serious than I expected it to be, but it still had all the humor. It has Cillian Murphy too. It's got. I don't know when the last time you saw the cast was.
It's got Army Hammer, dude. When he goes to the bottom level of the warehouse and just eats that guy.
I was gonna say when he just starts trying to eat Brie Larson's ribs.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was fucking savage, bro. Yeah, this movie, Army Hammer, Cillian Murphy, Brie Larson, Charlton Copley, which, my God, dude. My favorite performance of his is still Hardcore Henry.
Have we had Charlton Copley on this podcast yet? Because if we haven't,
not.
That is a crime. I love Charlton Copley.
Evidently, dude from Midsummer's in it. I didn't remember that.
Oh, yeah, Jack Rayner.
Noah Taylor.
Love Noah Taylor.
Michael Smiley is looking very familiar for some reason.
Michael Smiley.
What do I know you from?
Yet?
Oh, he's in Gunpowder Milkshake. That's on my list too. To see, not to have.
You want to know what this movie is to me? Is the most Guy Ritchie movie ever to not be made by Guy Ritchie.
Right? Guy
he's in Luther. Yeah, he's one of the guys in Luther. I think that's right.
Guy Ritchie has to be kicking himself after he saw this movie. Like, why did I think of that? Yeah. I know all of these things that this man is in. I have not seen any of them except Free Fire. So, I guess I just know him from trailers. He looks very familiar, though.
He's one of those. He's one of those guys.
He probably looks like someone else because you know me. I'm always mixing people up.
I guarantee you've seen him in something. He's just always that guy. He's just.
Hey, can you tell me what's going on with Charlton Copley's hair in his IMDb photo?
I see no issues. I just see the beautiful man that is Charlton Copley.
What is
Charlton Copley somehow always looks more insane in real life than he is as his insane character.
Than he is as Mad Dog Murdoch or whatever.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on the A-Team movie?
I really like the A-Team movie with him.
I love the A-Team movie.
The cast of Bradley Cooper.
You could not make that movie today.
Bradley Cooper, Liam Neeson, and Charlton Copley as those characters is fucking perfect casting, dude.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, man, in a rare role at the time when he's not just being Liam Neeson in a movie kicking ass, which I'm okay with. I'm not knocking that, but seeing him imitate someone is kind of funny, but he also kind of pulls it off. At some point, I don't know, maybe episode 100 is Hardcore Henry, because I have a lot of things to say about Hardcore Henry.
You don't know what we should also cover at some point is fucking District 9. District 9 is really good, and I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I remember thinking it's okay.
I really liked District 9 back when it came out.
I remember
that was the first thing they put him on the map was District 9.
Yeah, I remember just kind of being like, it's all right. I don't remember specifically liking it.
I think we'll have to check it out on here because I remember really, really liking it.
But yeah, Free Fire, man. I was surprised to learn, Jeff, that it has a 70% on the tomato meter. The thermometer.
The tomato meter.
The thermometer. And only 52% with the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. But yet, the Metacritic score is a 63 and a 6.2. So it's favorable everywhere but the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And I also find it funny how few people seem to have seen this movie, yet it is so favored everywhere.
Right. What's funny is the way you and I watched Free Fire originally was like what this podcast was born out of, was us picking like a movie to just, throw on and watch together on like a weekend. And it's like the perfect one to cover for here. So I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's also been long enough to where I don't remember it that well. So it's basically like a brand new watch,
Yeah, basically. It'll be interesting to see how much of it I remembered.
Yeah.
As I went into it thinking it was going to be a lot. It is an action comedy is what it's listed as. But I remember thinking going into it that it was going to be a lot funnier than it is. I actually remember it being a lot more serious and dramatic than I expected it to be.
Hell of a cast.
I remember all the comedy being like from the characters and not the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check it out again.
Yeah, it's been it is on
really
HBO Max. And it is rentable from all the usual suspects.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Free Fire, check it out so you can follow along with us in a couple weeks.
Good movie, good. Go watch it.
Good movie, good. Go watch.
I have no idea why I started saying that, but it works. It works for me.
We got to get this Matt Smith image off of this Discord because I feel like terrified and hot and bothered all at the same time. And I just can't.
He's undressing me with his eyes and lack of reflection.
Yeah. Now I know what it felt like to be the fucking Cyberman. Dude, like, no thanks. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been a fun one. I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you about to say?
I don't think I was about to say anything. I think I was just vocalizing.
Oh, you're just vocalizing?
I think I was just vocalizing.
I feel like that could have been an alternate name for this podcast. It was just vocalizing.
Oh man, vocal listings.
No, no concrete, material worth listening to. It's just vocalizing. Just vocalizing.
I'm just screaming into the void, Jeff. That's all I'm doing.
I'm just screeching into the void, so we're not far off.
This podcast is my pillow, and I just scream into it.
This podcast is my pillow, and I just fall asleep listening to it. Oh man, yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. I think this is gonna be a wrap. No more vocalizations.
Not at the moment.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Oh. Oh, we didn't even talk about Anya Taylor-Joy singing.
Oh yeah, I was blown away by how good she was. I had no idea she.
It's almost like talented people are talented.
I think talented people need to be fucking selfish and share some of the talent with the rest of us, man.
Talented people need to shut the fuck up.
Why you got to be talented at acting and singing?
Like,
I'm not talented at anything.
look,
Selfish pricks.
look, Henry Cavill, sit the fuck down, okay? Like, leave some for the rest of us, will you? You can't be Henry Cavill and a nerd and an all-around great dude all at the same time. It's just too much.
You don't get to be Superman and Geralt of Rivia, you selfish bastard. Save some for the rest of us.
And a lovable dork. Like,
Yeah.
Ugh.
What the fuck, man? I saw a picture on Twitter of you hanging out with like your awesome dog. I can't love you any more than I already do, Henry Cavill. Please
What
calm
the fuck
down.
do you want from me, Henry
Please
Cavill?
calm down.